Brought to you by our sponsors: William Richmond Inc., Farmers Home and Auto Insurance, the Bob Koski Agency, R.E. Graves Heating and Air Conditioning, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, McNeil's Group Properties, the Charleston Senior Community, and Chesapeake's Bounty. Now, here's a weather alert update from JB Weather.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Forecaster John Bordash with you right now, right before midnight, sitting at 11:45 this evening to give you all a light net update on what it is I'm tracking and how this forecast looks to be unfolding for tomorrow. This is really for those of you that were unable to watch earlier or just kind of want an update to see where things currently stand. We've had a few changes, nothing too major, but we will get into that over the next little bit, really focus on what to expect tomorrow. If you have any travel plans, or if you're, just really what to expect across the region as the threat of freezing rain moves in. And will this really be an ice storm? Will this be anything close to, 1994 or anything like that? I do see John is asking an initial question if I can touch on Sunday after the update. If you're looking to know how impacts on Sunday will be, I can give you a general idea now, but it's really hard to say until we see what happens tomorrow. I mean, the analogy I used earlier is kind of like, you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan and you're trying to plan, exact details for the victory party after the Super Bowl, but the game hasn't been played yet. So you might think you win, you might have an idea what you'll do, but you need to see what happens. You need to play the game. We need to see what goes on tomorrow. But let's get right into the forecast. We do still have this ice storm warning up for parts of our region. This includes Charles, St. Mary's, King George, Westmoreland counties, and that's that dark purple. The lighter purple, that's a winter weather advisory for Calvert, Anne Arundel, and Prince George's County. Now, if you're sitting in Calvert County, you might be wondering why are we just not going to see anything tomorrow? Will impacts be lower here? Just ask yourself, how often is it that Calvert or Charles and St. Mary's County will see a certain type of weather event, but Calvert County won't? I tend to think that this ice storm warning should probably also go up for Calvert County if there is going to be one. So, in my mind, if you're if you're in Calvert County, just kind of keep that in mind. But this has been updated a little bit. It will now go into effect at 1 o'clock in the morning. So in just about an hour and a half, this will go into effect. I can see why they moved it up that early. I don't think we'll see freezing rain that early, but we'll get into the timing with Futurecast here in just 1 second. I want to make sure I'm on my slideshow, and I want to make sure my microphone is on. Yes, it is. Also, and I'll do a post about this. Let me come back here. There's an ice storm warning in effect for tomorrow. I need you to use common sense. Travel tomorrow is not a good idea. There's an ice storm warning. Just use that little bit of should I travel tomorrow on an ice storm warning? The answer is probably no. The forecast for Sunday, if you want to know if we can get to church services, if we can do grocery shopping, all those different types of things, and I can understand wanting to know that so you can plan out your weekend, I can't give you a definitive answer right now. And I will be 100% transparent. So about that, I can't tell you what impacts might linger into Sunday until we see what actually happens tomorrow. If we don't see nearly as much ice as we think, Sunday will be fine. Maybe some slick spots, but it'll be fine. If we see as much or even more ice than I expect, then we'll have issues on Sunday. But let's get into the forecast for tomorrow. The core of this icing event will be south and east of DC, I think. So it really focuses across southern Maryland, through the northern neck of Virginia, through central Virginia. That's a bright color. And if we really zoom into our region to give you an idea, that deepest purple, and it might be hard to tell the color difference, but that deepest color of purple, it's really inland areas, and it's really northern rural areas. So if you are in northern Calvert County, northern St. Mary's, southern Prince George's County, and Charles County, away from the Potomac, especially like the lower Potomac, like we're talking once you get north of 301, like north of Newburgh, these are the areas I'm the most concerned about to maybe see locally higher ice totals for tomorrow. This graphic says 7 a.m. Saturday to 7 a.m. Sunday. I made this at I think it was like 5 o'clock. So I haven't had time to update this, but this could start a little earlier. We might see, I would expect maybe some freezing rain, maybe to start around 5 or so. And we'll get into that in just a second. Road impacts. Everyone wants to know about this. Can I make it down to Richmond tomorrow? Can I make it to Pennsylvania tomorrow? Can I make it to West Virginia tomorrow? No. If you're leaving Southern Maryland tomorrow, you will have issues. If you're heading south tomorrow, you will have issues. If you're heading anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic tomorrow, you will have issues. Again, there is an ice storm warning. Use some common sense. Travel is not going to be advised at all tomorrow, and Sunday's still a little iffy. So do just keep that in mind. And I know some of you do need to travel and you want to know what to expect. Slick spots are going to be likely, in the very least, especially for those areas that saw that 2 to 5 inches of snow last night. You have heavy wet snow caked onto those trees, and that's going to cause some issues. And when we talk about that, that then starts to introduce the idea of power outages. We might see some scattered power outages across our region. Not so much because of wind. That's the saving grace here. The winds tomorrow will not be too high. I think our max wind gust tomorrow might only be like 15 miles an hour. So typically you don't really notice that. That's a pretty typical day here in Southern Maryland. So, but that is a little bit of wind that could cause some issues, especially with that snow on the trees. So do keep that in mind tomorrow. This graphic kind of really, I think, pulls it together pretty well. This is the storm timeline, giving you a breakdown line by line, and this is up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, of what you can expect. And people like this graphic. I like making it because it really, I think, helps to show you what we're looking at. Freezing rain could start as early as 5 o'clock in the morning. I think that the main part of this event will probably happen between about 9 a.m. tomorrow morning through probably around 11 or 12 o'clock in the evening. And we're probably going to see the highest impacts during the afternoon hours, and I'll show you why in just 1 second with the Futurecast. We'll get into that once we're done with this. Wind, again, not a huge threat, but we could see some 10 to 20 mile an hour gusts. That could lead to some scattered power outages, especially in the afternoon and evening, and roads. Travel difficulties are going to be likely. I see Stacy saying a nurse, weather is no excuse. I know that my older sister is a nurse and she's been a nurse for several years. I do get that. But do expect some travel issues tomorrow. So maybe try to get in as early as you can, or wait it out if you can a little bit, like stay at work later. I know that might not be what a lot of people want to hear, but this is, I think, what we're going to be talking about. Let's get into Futurecast. Let's break this down. Let's really show you what I think we're talking about moving forward. Let that load up to Futurecast. This is for 3 o'clock in the morning. We're already seeing maybe some light freezing rain showers breaking out. And what I want you to notice, at least where we are right now with Futurecast, you see how some of this is showing up as green, as typical rain showers. This would likely also be freezing rain. The computer sometimes has a difficulty trying to decipher different precip types. Are all below freezing. This would all likely be freezing rain. But by 3 o'clock, it is all right now even. I mean, if I were to bring up current radar, it is already going down here to the south, just to the north of Raleigh. We are already seeing reports of ice across this region, and this is only going to come further north. It's already starting to, that little red raindrop tells you we're going to be looking at a little bit of ice already over towards Richmond. So let's get you back over here. Let's work you through Futurecast for the day tomorrow. So this is 3 a.m. By the time we head towards 4, it's really starting to come into our region. By about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's become widespread. By 8 or 9, like we were saying, that's going to be the core of this. This is what Futurecast has for you. It really shows this freezing rain dominant across much of the area. I mean, and it's really focused here south and east of DC. We likely are not going to see much in the way of snow from this. There might be some sleet. And that's going to be the most likely north and west of DC, I think. I think much of this will be freezing rain. As you push us forward towards 9 and 10 o'clock, I mean, you see these deeper pinks in here. This is indicative of some more moderate freezing rain. Now, you might be in luck if you live right up along our immediate bayside locations and right up along the lower Potomac River, because you tend to be a couple of degrees warmer, and in this type of an event, that's a saving grace. You can already see plain rain down to the south and east, and it's going to try to work northward here, and you can see that by about 3 o'clock, maybe we've gotten that into, this is going to be down towards Scotland and Ridge. Maybe you've gotten that in there, but I mean, we're still looking widespread freezing rain. This is getting towards 3 o'clock. If I zoom out for you, this is really a kind of a widespread thing. We're talking about freezing rain all the way down from the Richmond area, all the way north up here into the Philadelphia region. So this is a widespread event. That's why travel will not be recommended tomorrow, especially in the afternoon. This model continues to keep that going into the evening. This is 7 o'clock. Again, these rain showers out here, I would believe would also be freezing rain. So it wouldn't be rain. This would be freezing rain. If it's freezing rain out here, it's probably freezing rain back out here. But by 7 o'clock, maybe we're seeing it break up a little bit. This model tries to get this out of here a little quicker. By 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, it's more scattered in nature. By about midnight to 1 a.m., this model tries to really kind of clear things out. Again, maybe by 4 o'clock Sunday morning, you have some scattered freezing rain showers, but nothing too widespread. It really should start to clear up Saturday evening going to Sunday morning. If things happen the way this model shows, this model puts down a quarter to a third of an inch of ice for some regions. This type of scenario here would lead to impacts that linger into the day on Sunday, making it hard to go to church, hard to get grocery shopping done, hard to do much of anything on Sunday. So do keep that in mind. It's hard to say if this would linger into Monday or not. We're likely to get some rain in here Sunday night into Monday. It should be mainly rain. And I'll more on that later on tomorrow once we get this through. But this is, I think, what we're talking about. Again, coming back over here. This is your storm timeline. This is probably the most important graphic I can show you. As you try to plan out tomorrow, going into tomorrow night into Sunday. Ice is the most likely, and I just showed you those deeper purples, the most likely after lunchtime tomorrow. It will probably begin around sunrise, if done a little bit before, maybe as early as 5 o'clock. I think we're looking at the highest chances begin around 9, and then we get to see some of that more moderate freezing rain move in here after lunchtime, between about lunchtime and maybe like a late dinner time, between about 1 and 7. I think is really when we're going to be talking about probably maybe some moderate freezing rain. Now, if the freezing rain does not fall as heavy, or we see more breaks in the activity, we won't see as much ice, which would be great news, and I think many people would welcome that. I don't think many people would call that a bust. So ice events are very hard to forecast because freezing rain, it's just so tricky. It's how much falls, because just small amounts of ice cause huge issues. I mean, when you get a glaze of ice, you have issues. That's just literally, you can't really even, record how much it is. Once you get to a tenth of an inch of ice, you're talking about widespread travel issues. A quarter of an inch of ice is considered an ice storm. Will this meet criteria of an ice storm? We'll see. I tend to think maybe the ice storm warning could be a little overdone. I would not expect this to be on the level of 1994, given the data I'm seeing. Could I be wrong? Maybe, but I don't think this will be on that level. That system produced between a half inch and an inch of ice across the region, so I don't think we'll get up to that level. Stay home and just watch JB. I will be here. I might get a couple hours of sleep here once we're done here, but I will be with you all day. And I can only say tomorrow for 3 more minutes because we're almost to midnight. I'll be with you all day Saturday, continuing to keep you updated into Sunday night to keep you and your family ahead of the storm, to keep you prepared, because this is really going to be an impactful event that you need information for. It's going to be imperative you stick with JB Weather for the latest information to keep you ahead of this ice storm. So please, keep it tuned here. I will continue to keep you updated. And should I avoid the road tomorrow? I would. If you could, I would not. Let's see, Jamie. That's funny. You're good. Of course, Jerome. I try my best. A little bit more mellow because we're a little later in the evening. It's a little later, so I'm almost ready for bed. But when will the roads be safe after the ice? And in all honesty, it's not just for California, Stephanie, but really region-wide. It might, again, if this happens the way that we think it might, we might not see roads get a little better till Sunday afternoon at the earliest. Now, if this isn't as impactful and we don't see as much ice fall, then we should be good to go by, Sunday morning, Sunday mid-morning. So what temp is pre-treatment and salting ineffective? Stacy, I believe that happens at 27 or 28 degrees. I think a snow contractor would be able to tell you more about that. I'm not too knowledgeable about that. But I tend to think, my experience is that freezing rain does not help out with, or pre-treatment does not prevent ice from accumulating when we have freezing rain, because freezing rain falls as rain. It's not going to look any different from normal rain. You'll look outside and be like, oh my God, it's just raining. But you'll see that it's accumulating ice. But because because it's falling as rain, it's going to wash away a little bit of that pre-treatment. So that's why, again, you might see roads are pre-treated, but I mean, we have slush on the ground from last night's snow. We have freezing rain falling tomorrow, so I'm not sure the pre-treatment's going to be too effective. How's it going to be to travel from St. Mary's County to Baltimore, then to Pennsylvania? You're going to have some issues with that. Did you see the accident in Texas? I did, Liz. Yes, that was crazy. And welcome everyone to Saturday. It is now midnight. Does anyone have information about whether SOMD roads are being treated? Lauren, from what I've heard from the reports I've seen online today, it looks like they've at least tried to pre-treat all the major roads and try to do all of the secondary roads. I wouldn't say that this is like a last-minute event that just popped up on radar, but we've had so many other storms to deal with. They put on a lot of pre-treatment. We just had snow yesterday, so they've tried to get as much done today as they can ahead of tomorrow's icing event, and kudos to them. But I'm not sure how likely it is to be that effective when we have freezing rain falling, especially if it starts as early as it might. Straightforward. Yes. Everyone stay home, and I will be with you. Thank you, Claudette, for that. I try to be straightforward. I know you all just want to forecast, and you all just want to know what to expect moving forward, and I try my best to provide that to you. No BS. You don't need all the theatrics of it. You just need to know, I think the most theatric thing I do is that we are in all red mode. But we're not going to spend forever talking about, oh my god, we're in red mode, weather alert mode. There's a nice storm warning. So we need to go from Leslie to Columbia mid-morning. Lori, yeah, you'll have issues tomorrow morning, especially mid-morning. I mean, once you head towards like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you're going to have issues. And yes, it is late. I was trying to be in bed by now, so... How do I think it will be to travel Sunday afternoon from Calvert to Arnold? Amy, again, it really will depend on actually what happens tomorrow. If things go as forecasted, you'd probably have some issues, some slick spots on the roads, especially across Calvert County. And yes, I will get some sleep here soon. And nothing on Monday, Tuesday just yet. I need one storm at a time. I feel like because we've had these parade of storms move through every other day, we're right before one system, and people want my thoughts on the next system, the system after that. One storm at a time. We need to figure out what's going on with this, and then we can talk about Monday, Tuesday, and then once that storm's done, then we can talk about the Thursday system. My wine I do not. My wine is not in hand. It is currently in the refrigerator. Travel at 6 a.m. in Newburgh to Waldorf. I mean, Courtney, you'll have issues if we bring you back over to FutureCast. For those that are just now joining in, let's bring you over here. Let's bring it. There we go. So this is 3 a.m. Again, this shows rain, but this would all be freezing rain, I think. Once we head towards about 4, 5, 6, Courtney was asking for 6 o'clock. This is as close as I can get you. It's still kind of spotty at that point, so I mean, I wouldn't go any later than 6 because we just go forward a little bit here. I mean, 6:30, it's increasing in coverage, and by 7 and 8 o'clock, it's pretty much region-wide. And then we continue this through. I mean, you can see some heavier pockets here, freezing rain potentially. And I wouldn't get too caught up on where exactly they are. This is the model trying to figure it out, but we're likely to have them around some heavier pockets. And by the afternoon, I mean, just look at this. This is heavy. This is moderate freezing rain. Should have gotten an ice blower. How about Bowie to Annapolis around 10 a.m. Saturday? Yeah, I mean, if I bring this back for you a little bit, let's go to 10 o'clock. And you were talking Bowie to Annapolis, so you're probably taking mainly 50. I mean, it's ice. It is like almost all ice for you, so I would not recommend that either. Going from California to Owings at 9 a.m. and back to California at 2. No, Emily, yeah. I mean, 9 o'clock, so this is 9:15. So you said going from California to Owings at 9, going across the Thomas Johnson Bridge. I mean, I would not recommend any bridge travel. And from California, you do not have any options really to get to Owings from without going across the bridge. Even the Benedict Bridge. I mean, maybe if you can come up here somewhere. And then you said and then back to California at 2. You still have ice. It's the same story. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to cancel clients tomorrow, Paige says. I'm sorry. Maybe what's your layman's version of why precipitation is snow or freezing rain? So Russell, and I meant to get a graphic done earlier. I didn't, unfortunately. Um, but if we remember, so this is my water, and it is just water, but this is my water canteen, right? So let's say this is the column of the atmosphere. Let me put it up so you can see it. This is where we are. This is where we live and everything. This is the cloud base. It goes about a mile up into the air. So this is where clouds are. It's always below freezing up here, always. So even on 100-degree days, it's below freezing up here, and whatever precipitation falls always initially falls as snow. Temperatures in this column of air can vary greatly. So here at the surface, we can be below freezing. But if we get warm air aloft, and this is what's going to happen tomorrow, we get warm air above 32. So you wouldn't call 33 warm, but that's what I mean by warm air, over 32. You get a sliver of it that kind of mixes in this part of the atmosphere. And it can be kind of thick. I mean, it could be like this. And it could just be freezing down here. So I know could be a little difficult to kind of wrap your mind around, but 1,000 feet through the air, or a mile up into the air, if you get like, let's say half of that's warm air, or 3/4 of that's warm air, that initial snowflake melts into a raindrop. And typically, it's at like a 100-degree day, it just stays as a raindrop all the way down. We don't even know. Or when we're below freezing and it's below freezing all the way up, it just stays as a snowflake. But what happens when it's freezing rain is that it will melt into a raindrop. But that freezing layer down here at the surface is so shallow, it does not have enough time to refreeze. So it remains a raindrop, and then it will freeze on anything down here. Now, if that freezing layer is a little bit more shallow, then it gives it time, because there's more cold air down here, to kind of refreeze a little bit, form into more of an ice pellet, and then that's when it'll bounce. And we could see that tomorrow as well. I hope my canteen care kind of helped you. I don't have a graphic for that. I haven't made that up yet, but I hope that kind of helps. Thanks for the late night report. Greatly appreciate it. Exactly. And I mean, people want updates, and I know a lot of people are worried about the ice storm, so I think I wanted to hop on here to give you a quick update. I think there will be ice by 9 a.m. Sunday. No, I mean, Futurecast here, going to 9 a.m. Sunday, has maybe some scattered rain and freezing rain and sleet showers, but most of this should end overnight. There will be some lingering ice on roads, but nothing falling. Snow into the ice, I wish. Let's see. You would early post here so that inland areas could get up to 1/3 of an inch of ice. What area specifically do I think have the best possibility? That's a really great question, and I think what might help me out a little bit better, I want to see if I can I want to get one of my other programs loaded here, because it really allows me to bring up the different town names, and it shows like everything a lot better. So give me 1 second while I get that loaded. It takes me a good 2 seconds, probably a little longer than that. So this is, let's just put it at 102. Let's put it at, wait, okay, thank you. I need to get my pen loaded up. All right, let's bring you over here. Okay, so you're now inside the weather computer. Welcome. Where did that? There you are. Okay. So the areas inland. So I'm talking like, so the areas. So if you're like to the west or to the north of any line I draw, you'll see this is kind of the area I'm talking about. So it would. Oh, that's kind of a thick marker. I wanna maybe get one. There we go. And I hope you all can see that. So I'm thinking areas. And those immediate coastal ways, especially down here at the base of the Potomac, down towards the lower river. So it will be areas that are inside of this line. So all of these areas, generally. So coming down in here, it kind of looks like a mouth right there. But it's all of these areas that are inside the colored line, really. So I think you can get the general idea. I'm not gonna color the whole screen, but so those would be the areas, and maybe it might be even a little easier to kind of demonstrate with that. Let's show up. No, not really. It might even be easier just to show you the areas that I would be least worried about. I mean, it's really. I think you can see that kind of. So generally, it's like areas like this that I would be least concerned of. So inside the pink, least concerned about. In here, you're looking at ice probably. In here, you can maybe mix a little bit of rain. You're a little warmer, which would help. That's my best at midnight for for that. I'm not gonna try a million times to draw that one out. Let's see. The more you Let's see. Canteen visual for the win. I try my best. You gotta use your research as you can, and I'm like looking around trying to figure out how it. Because when I just like do this, people don't understand. But I'm like, a canteen is an actual object you can see. When I've been learning in my education classes, you need something you can see to really have something stick. Let's see. Can you tell my friend Sammy Keeper? You do not want to be on the bridge tomorrow. Great way to explain. Awesome. I'm glad that helped, Tana. Let's see, Jennifer. I have a hockey tournament tomorrow throughout Ruston and Haymarket. Is there a good time in which we should leave mechanics? Jennifer. As early as possible, if you could. I mean, like 5 o'clock would be good. I mean, I know it's kind of early, especially if it's like a kids hockey tournament. That might be a struggle getting them out of bed that early, but as early as possible. But I really wouldn't recommend travel after sunrise tomorrow. Jalen wants to know what shitty side and deal. If I move you forward here, oof. There we go. Shitty side and deal. You get a good idea there. You could see maybe up to maybe like 2/10 of an inch of ice. Thank you. The visual of land areas really helps. Next question: does elevation of the water come into play at all? Yes. So Eva, that is a very good point, and that plays a big role with our forecast, the elevation. And believe it or not, just like 100 feet in elevation make all the difference. So the best example, I grew up in Calvert County, so I know Calvert County the best. But Calvert County is a long county. Solomon's Island is right there on the water. You have like the boardwalk right there. You're right at sea level. That area is the most prone to coastal influence in terms of temperatures. As you travel up Route 4, you are gradually increasing in elevation, so that by the time you're north of Huntingtown, if you traveled Route 4 up that way as you get towards Owings and Dunkirk, you're going up and down hills. That is indicative of a higher elevation. When you get higher elevation, you don't have as much coastal influence. So, across southern Maryland, you have coastal influence, especially for, those Bayside counties like Howard and St. Mary's. However, the northern parts of those counties are a little bit more elevated, so they see less influence. Inland areas are always able to cool a lot quicker than coastal areas. So that's why in the winter, the coastal areas that are at lower elevation are much more susceptible to what's going on around them. And you could just even head a mile or two inland, and you can see not vastly different, but the temperature could be 2 or 3 degrees different. And during the summer, you might not realize that, but like when you go down to the beach, it's a little cooler. Or during the winter, like right now, they're a little warmer. So again, I grew up in Lesby, so if you go down to like Seahorse Beach, it's going to be a little warmer there tomorrow than it would be if you just head over towards like Appeal Elementary School. It's going to be a very minute difference, but that's kind of what we're talking about. These happen on very microclimate levels. Like we are talking, these are very minute differences that happen, and this is all across the region. Bryan's Road that you were talking about, that is a great example. Any area up along the Potomac River, especially areas that body larger areas of water, so like the counties that are right up along the lower bay, the lower Potomac River. So I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Oh, wait, there we go. I'm in Richmond for the weekend. Will it be just as bad here? Yeah, Jack, you'll have issues down there as well. No people. Oh, the water is like coming out now. But yeah, I'm glad that made a little bit of sense for you all. Yes, Calvert County. Born and raised. Born in Huntingtown. Lived most of my life in Lesbian, and now my mom lives in Solomons. Next week, Jonathan. You know, I'm not gonna get into that. It's too soon. Oh, of course, David. Thank you. So you just don't go out, people. Yeah, it's not. It really isn't. I mean, just use some common sense. Would you just think? Let's think through this logically. There's an ice storm warning in effect. If you do not have to travel, why would you? I mean, it's an ice storm warning. What other alert needs to get issued for people to understand that? I mean, and I get some people do need to travel. I can 100% respect that. But no, don't get your poodle groomed tomorrow at 9 a.m. I would cancel it. Air appointment, cancel it. Just and you won't know this. You don't need me to tell you. I think you're looking for me to be like, oh no, it'll be fine. I think that's what you're looking for. What is good? Oh, sorry, I made it to the bottom of the comments. So it is now 12:15. We've been doing this for half an hour. I'm going to try to get some sleep before we get too underway with this. I will be with you all day today. So we'll probably get things started up around 3 or 4. So I can get at least a couple hours of sleep. And then we'll keep this going here for all evening. Or not all evening. All day. On the other side, I need to go to bed. I'm calling it evening already. So stay tuned. I'll keep you updated. We'll do the 90-minute updates periodically. They may even be more frequent depending on the situation we have at hand. This is going to be a very interesting setup we have going on across the region. So please make sure you stay tuned to JB Weather for the latest information. It's really going to be imperative that you stay with me tomorrow for updates. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter at JB_weather, on Instagram at JB Weather, and my website and the website always has updated forecast information, jbweather.net. So stay tuned. I will continue to keep you updated. I'm going to get some sleep, though. I'm tired. And get at least a little bit before the active day today. Again, ice storm warning goes into effect in less than an hour at 1 o'clock. You'll probably see some posts from me over the next couple of hours. Those are all pre-automated posts I'm about to do now to get out of the way. So people have updated information, but I will be asleep, so don't worry. So I will be with you. Stay tuned, and I'll continue to keep you updated. I'm Forecaster John Bordash. Have a nice and safe one, and keep it tuned right here.